Okay, so today we're going to be doing lesson 36. So at the top of your notes, make sure you write lesson 36. And lesson is going to be on subtracting fractions and mixed numbers from whole numbers. So I'll give you a chance. Make sure your notes are out on your desk. Make sure you're copying down when I say copy down. If you need to pause the video, I believe you can. But if you can't, you can rewatch it later for what you missed. Okay, so moving on. Lesson 36. So today we're going to talk about, let's write each number as a decimal and a fraction. So don't worry about putting this in your notes, just do this with me. 2/10. Now when we say 2/10, we have, as a fraction, we have 2. We have 2/10. Now can we simplify that? Is there a number that will go to about 2 and 10? Yeah, sure, 2. So another way to write that would be 1/5. Now, if I wanted to put it as a decimal, I would say I would have 0 in the whole place and a 2 in the 10th place. But both are the same thing. Now, I have 21 hundredths. When I have 21 hundredths, I don't really have a lot of room. Let me see. 21 hundredths would be 21 over 100 would be my fraction form. And then as a decimal, I would have 0 wholes and 21 hundredths. Okay, so now we have 1 and 3/10. So now the and, whenever I see the word and, I know that is where my decimal is. So I have 1 whole and 3 in the 10th place. That's how I'd write it with decimal. And as a fraction, I have 1 whole and 3/10. Now I have 9 hundredths. I have no and, so I don't have anything in the wholes. So I have 9 hundredths. So then I don't have anything in the 10th place, but I do have a 9 in the hundredths place. So is that 9 hundredths? Absolutely. So 17 hundredths, I have nothing in the whole. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. I have to put 9 hundredths. My bad, guys. And then when I do 17 hundredths, I have 17 hundredths. So I have 17 in the hundredths place. And then as a fraction, I have 17 over 100. So just looking at those, that'll help you kind of remember what all we did with that. So remember this key word here that you need to remember is and means decimal. So when you see an and, you have to put your decimal down. Okay, moving on to the next slide. So let's just rewrite this. So 4 3/3 is really the same as what? 4 3/3 is really the same as 5 wholes. And 2 5/5 is really the same as 3 wholes. 5 2/2 is really the same as 6 wholes. And 7 6/6 is really the same as 8 wholes. We're going to use that to help us with our subtraction. Okay, so there were 4 pies on the shelf. The server sliced one of the pies into 6 and took 2 1/6 pies from the shelf. How many pies were left on the shelf? So here we have 4 pies. And the last one, this one right here, is sliced into 6. Okay, so he's taking away 2 wholes and 1/6 slice. So I'm gonna take away one of these slices. So there's one, and then I'm gonna take this whole and this whole. So how many am I left with? I'm left with 1 and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 and 5, 6. Okay, and in arithmetic, here's how we would do this. If I have 4 whole pies, and I'm taking away 2 and 1/6, another way we can write this is what I like to do is let's cut one of the pies into 6. Whatever the denominator is, oops, sorry, wrong thing. Whatever that denominator is for the fraction that you're working with, I know I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take one of the wholes and make it 3 and keep my denominator. As long as it's the same on top and bottom, it equals 1 whole. So whatever this denominator is, I like to go ahead and make it automatically because I know when I add and subtract with fractions, your denominators have to be the same. So 3 and how many 6? It would be 3 and 6/6. Is that still the same as 4? So now I'm left with, so I want you to put this in your notes. You had 4 minus 2 and 1/6. But we simplified that down, and we took one of the holes away and made it 3 holes and 6 6. So now my problem is this: 3 and 6 6 minus 2 and 1 6. When I subtract this out, I can subtract my fraction. I always start with your fraction first. 6 minus 1 is 5. 3 minus 2 is 1. So my answer is 1 and 5 6. Make sure you have this problem in your notes for me, please. Make sure you have that problem in your notes. So what we did was we took one of the whole pies and we sliced it up. And however many slices we're going to take is out of from what we're subtracted from, we made it the 6. Okay, we did this one. Let's do this one. So now we're solving. We're subtracting. I have 5 wholes minus 1 and 2/3. Well, I can't take 2/3 from a whole yet, so I have to take one of my pies and cut it up. So I'm left, when I do that, I'm left with that 5. We're going to make it 4 wholes, and then I have a whole slice pie. And what is my denominator here? I'm going to make it up here, so that way it'll make it easier when I subtract my answer. So, and if I still want 5 whole slices up top, so I need to make my numerator and denominator the same, because 4 and 3/3 is the exact same thing as 5. So, can we subtract it now? Sure. So, let's do our fraction first. I have 3/3 minus 2/3. 3/3 minus 2/3 equals 1/3. And then 4 minus 1 equals 3 wholes. So, my answer is 3 and 1/3. How you can check these is you can plug them back in. I'm going to combine the piece I took away with the piece I had left. So I could say 1 and 2/3 plus 3 and 1/3. And my denominator says 3. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. 4. And then that equals my whole 5 back in my answer. So you can always take it and combine the two at the end to double check them. But make sure you have this problem copied in your notes. Have the original problem, and then you need to be able to see what we did to subtract. Okay, so moving on. Next one, let's practice these. I have 3 minus 2.5. Well, what can I combine a 2.5 to equal 3? Some of you might already know, but if you don't, let's work it out here too. So write the problem down: 3 minus 2.5, and I like to write it vertically. So another way I can do this is I'm going to cut one of my pies, my whole pie, so I'm going to be left with 2, and I still have that whole slice. So this 2 and 2/2 is really equal to 3. Minus 2 and 1/2, and that leaves me with just 1/2. Okay, so now for the next one, 2 minus 1/4. So I have 2 whole pies minus 1/4. Well, I'm going to have to cut one of the whole pies from above. So I'm going to rewrite that problem to where now I have 1. Whatever my denominator is, I make it the same up here, and because it's a whole, so they'll be the same on top and bottom. Is 1 and 4/4 really the same thing as 2? Yes, they're the same problem, so it's going to work perfect for us. And then we're going to take away 1/4. So 4/4 minus 1/4 equals 3/4, and then 1. We just have 1 whole minus nothing. If you want to, you can put your 0 there. Is 1 and 3/4. Good job. I think we already did that one. Okay. So, let's do another one. Let's do some more practice. Make sure you have this down in your notes. Let's have 4 and 4. I'm sorry, guys. 4 minus 2 and 4. So, I have 4 wholes minus 2 and 1/4. Another way I can write this problem is I'm going to cut one of the slices. So, I'm left with 3 wholes and 4/4, which is the same as 4 minus 2 and 1/4. Okay, so now we can subtract it. 4 minus 1 is 3. My denominator stays the same when I subtract. 3 minus 2 is 1 whole.
Council representatives and alternates to go to the gym and Duke Talent Search.
Okay,
Yes.
so now let's look at the next one. I have 3 minus 5/12. So, let me wipe that clean slate. You guys should have these problems already copied, right? copying it with me. I'll give you a little chance to keep up. Okay, so next one we have, I'm going to wipe it. I'm going to clear this out for us. So now I have 3 minus 5/12. So 3 wholes minus 5/12. Well, I'm going to cut that down so I'm left with 2 and 12/12. Why did I choose 12/12? Because my denominator up here, down here, is 12. So I'm going to make sure that they're both the same when I'm rewriting my fraction. Kind of gives you the easy, so you can work smarter here so you don't have to work harder later. And then I'm just taking away 0 wholes and 5/12. So 12 minus 5 equals 7/12. And then 2 minus 0 is 2. Okay, so what do y'all think? Are good? Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay. Let's do this one together. Another example. Go ahead and put in your notes. 10. Whoops. Let me get my pen.